What's going on, everybody? We're here, back with a brand new episode of Higurashi When They Cry. Last time on, Rika has finally decided to ask for help, and she has asked the main club members, and she has also reached out to Tomoki and Ire as well, in which, once they were talking about the whole Tomoki trying to investigate into Takano, Oshi and Akasaka overheard. And so they had a big discussion and they figured out a plan to, attack against the Mountain Dogs and Takano. During the last episode, there was a very big scene with Oshi. I feel like that I really, well, like once I've sat on it, it's super good because I feel like in that scene, Oshi's kind of detective persona, his front as a detective kind of fell away, and he had to ask himself, do I risk losing everything I've built for over who knows how many years, 40 years, 30 years, who knows? Do I give all that up in order to avenge my friend, or do I run away like a coward and turn back on why I did this profession in the first place? And that scene was very powerful, especially for Oshi's character. It was. I feel like we kind of saw the man, not the detective Oshi, but the man, Kurado Oshi. And it was very impressive. And Josh, a person who's been commenting on nearly every single video, leaving behind such insightful comments and all that, put it into great words of how Oshi is kind of like ourselves. As, especially me, because I believe it was the Sonozaki family for a long time as well during this Let's Play. And it finally is a cathartic feeling to let go of hate for someone, to blame someone else for these murders, for these killings. And it's a very cathartic type of thing. And I felt that, especially at the end of the last chapter, the cathartic feeling of finally letting go of paranoia, of suspicion, finally letting all of that go. We finally know everything. We know everything by this point. We know the entire truth about pretty much everything. There's nothing to doubt. There's no mysteries left to unravel. Well, maybe like what the hell is causing the fragments, but that's more of a external thing. Well, in the village itself, we finally know all these characters, and that we know we can trust them. And it's such a cathartic feeling because we've witnessed these characters go through the same paranoia as us, and how it leads them to doing horrible actions such as murder and such and hurting themselves. And it was such a cathartic feeling that was just hit a boiling point at the end of last chapter. Was there something else I wanted to discuss before? Was there? Oh, yes. I want to talk about like kind of my quote unquote Oshi moment was back in chapter 6 when I realized there was no director, quote unquote, which actually in hindsight, there, Ire director, secret organization. Hey, at the beginning, I was kind of close sticking to the truth of everything. I was, yeah. Also, Josh had told me that the original villain of Higurashi was supposed to be Ire, so I wonder. I'm very curious when Ryuku 07 decided it wasn't Ire anymore, because I'm pretty sure in episode 1, if he was going down the route of like it's Ire, like it's pretty obvious because they, Mion and Rana discuss like the director, which could also be a word for coach, which, points all the fingers at Ire. I'm very curious on when he made the decision not to make Ire the villain. Just interesting developmental changes. I'm very curious on that. But, yeah, I don't think there's anything else to discuss, so let's just jump right into it. Also, what's very interesting about this chapter is that there's no tips, at all. And maybe that could be a sign of, there's nothing else to give tips about. We know everything by this point. So, it's very interesting. Oh, one other thing. Almost completely forgot. I will be playing the dice killing chapter from Higurashi Way. Yeah, I will be playing that one because it's a great bookend to this whole story. So I will be playing that before I end the series. So don't worry about that. The console arcs, maybe at some point in the future. Definitely not right now because, we're getting to the ending and I want a good bookend. Maybe sometime down the future, 10 years from now when I got no other video games to play, I can always come back to the old, the old cow and milk it for a couple more gold nuggets. Alright, let's actually get into it. 今、季節の変わり目で大変風邪をひきやすい時期です。暑いからといってお腹を出したりして寝ないように。いいですね。はーい。はあ。二人とも一緒に住んでるから一緒に風邪ひいちゃったんだね。リカちゃん、あさっての綿流しだけど、ミコさんの役大丈夫なのかな？祭りはみんなで遊ぼうって話なのに、二人とも風邪ってんじゃな。明日にはケロッと治ってほしいもんだぜ。なあよ、帰りにみんなでお見舞いにでも寄らないか？何か冷たいものの差し入れでも持ってさ。その必要はないよ。それより二人ともさ、今日の帰りおじさんの家に寄ってもらいたいんだけど、いいかな？ Mion usually enjoys ideas like bringing people food when they're sick. For whatever reason, she was a little curt today. Actually, she's been acting a little different since this morning. Even when I talked to her, her thoughts seemed somewhere else. Now she's asking Lena and me to stop by at her house. みーちゃんの家？何かあるの？うん。ちょっと大切な話があるんだよ。ここではできない。Mion seemed calmer than usual, which told me that it was about something very serious. There are always lots of patients running into the clinics just before lunchtime. Because of that, lunchtime at the clinic is always later than normal people's. It's just a short break, though. Our afternoon shift begins right away. The staff are enjoying their break, eating their delivery lunches. They can eat basically anywhere they want, as long as the patients can't see them and it's not a place we need to keep sterile. Because it's hot and humid, the meeting room with its air conditioner ends up being a popular place. The staff all eat their takeout lunches there. As I'm the director of this clinic, they might feel uncomfortable eating with me around. So I usually eat my lunch in the director's office out of consideration for them. Today I ordered lunch from a soba shop. I got an extra large serving of moro soboa, that is, mess that up. For whatever reason, they just call the dish an extra large. That makes ordering it complicated, since if I order an extra large and a kitsune udon, they'll just deliver an extra large kitsune udon instead. But is this really a large? It looks more like liver size to me. As I recall, the owner of the restaurant has hurt her hip, so she must be having a hard time keeping things running. I was still thinking about that when Takano-san came in. She was carrying a really large-size order in her hands. Apparently, she ordered a regular mori soba, and I grabbed the wrong one by mistake. Ah, what a hassle.
本当に分かりづらいですわよね。何か目印になるものでもつけてくれればいいのに。
同感です。例えば大盛りって書いたお子様ランチの旗みたいなのが立ててあるとかね。
Takano-san must have liked that idea. She laughed for a while.
よかったらご一緒にどうです？
I invited her to sit on the sofa.
ではせっかくですので。すみません。冷房をちょっぴりだけ弱めてもらってもよろしいですかしら？
ええ、それは失礼しました。よいしょ、ピッピッと。
Come to think of it, I haven't really talked too much with her. We were rather distant from each other, partway over the guilt of the organization becoming the Ura Institute. So with that in our respective positions, we had a tactum agreement not to pry too deeply into each other. Since our attitudes towards our research are different, we've never mingled before. So chatting over lunch is a good way to get closer to her. I wonder what she likes to talk about while eating. I guess I should start a peaceful conversation. I don't want her to go off about something like tapeworms. We're having lunch after all. And while I try to come up with a topic, she started talking instead.
さっきのお子様ランチの旗の話。懐かしいですわね。今時のお子様ランチにはまだ旗は立っているんでしょうか。
さあどうでしょうね。ああいうのは一つの様式ですからね。案外もっと未来になって宇宙旅行が実現するような時代になっても、宇宙船の機内食のお子様ランチには旗が立っているような気がします。
それはなんだか面白い話ですわね。そんな未来になっても子供たちはあの旗を夢中になって集めるのかしら。
旗を？おやおや、そんなことをされていたんですか。
あら、所長は子供の頃にしませんでした？お子様ランチの旗集め。
まさかまさか。私たちが子供の頃のお子様ランチといったら、裕福な家庭でなければなかなかありつけませんでしたよ。
Huh, flaxen kids meal. Must be a Japanese thing. Never heard of it before.
私の家ではとてもとても。
そんなことありませんわよ。うちは貧乏でしたけど、たまにデパートに家族で行くと必ずデパートの最上階のレストランに入りましたもの。当時の私にとってはデパートに連れて行ってもらえるのはお子様ランチが食べられるというのと同じ意味で、だから両親が私の留守の間にデパートへ行ってしまうと、とてもへそを曲げたのを思い出しますわ。
高野さんの子供時代もとても素敵そうですね。
でも私一人を残してデパートへ出かけて、二人ともバスの事故に巻き込まれて死んでしまいましたわ。その連絡が来るまで私はずっと両親を恨んでて。
Yep.
今頃デパートのレストランで私をのけ者にして美味しいものを食べてるに違いないって憤慨してて。あと1本で旗が確か20本になるはずで、20本が小さな目標だったので、それを達成する機会がまた遠のいたとずっとむくれていて、ひどい話ですわね。
It must have been horrible to lose her parents at the age when she was still interested in collecting flags from kids' meals. It's obviously still a painful memory for her.
そうですか。それは知りませんでした。ひょっとして それが医師を目指された動機ですか？
はどうして？
ああ、いえ。私が医師を目指したのは自分の家族に関わることが理由だったので、てっきり高野さんもそうだったのかと。
私が医師免許を取ったのはひなみ沢症候群により近づくために必要だったからですわ。失礼な言い方をすれば研究のためついでに取った免許ですわね。
How interesting. Even when she was still in medical school, she already knew about Himisawa syndrome.
そういえばこんな処方の処方のことも私は知りませんでしたが、高野さんはどこでひなみ沢症候群に触れられたのですか？高野先生の研究を掘り出すうちに発見されたというような話を聞いていますが、医大に通われていた頃に医師の勉強と並行してもう症候群の研究に入られていたとは驚きです。私など盆栽でしたので医師の勉強だけで精一杯でしたから尊敬しますよ。
ひなみ沢症候群の研究に携わったのはもっともっと前からですわね。
What does she mean? How old was she when she first found out about this syndrome? In fact, why did she become familiar with it at all?
私の実家はさとこちゃんやりかちゃんたちと同じで親戚がいませんでしたの。それで施設に引き取られてそれがもう本当に劣悪な施設でして。
You remember how there was a flood of war orphans back then? That was a truly awful orphanage built solely to gather up those children and bring in government subsidiaries.
それを訴え出た時に助けてくれたのが祖父高野先生でしたの。
ではあなたは高野先生と生活なされていたのですか？なるほど。研究資料に若くして触れることができていたのも納得です。しかしなぜそれを伏せられていたのですか？
まあ大人の事情ですわ。風土病研究のために予算を求めるのと死んだおじいちゃんの研究のために予算を求めるのでは少々事情が変わってきますから。
なるほど。長いことの疑問が氷解しました。あなたが高野先生を語る時の尊敬の眼差しは一研究者に対するものとしては説明できないものでしたので、しかしそこまで高野さんに尊敬させるとはよほど人徳のある素晴らしい先生だったんでしょうね。
さて人徳はどうだったでしょう。誰にも理解してもらえずずっと孤独に研究してそのまま病死してしまいましたもの。祖父は孤独を愛する悪い癖がありましたので協力者を得られなかったんですわね。
でも高野さんという優秀な助手がいたじゃないですか。そういえば高野さんも先生も読みは同じ高野ですね。
ええ、本当の名字じゃありません。祖父に敬意を表して同じ名を。本当は漢字も同じにしたいのですがクライアントに説明するときに誤解されたくないと思い読みだけを残して漢字を変えたんですわ。
Now I could see the connection between their two last names. That also revealed the connection between first names, Ifumi and Mio too. She doesn't need to tell me anything more than that. She lost her parents when she was young, and Dr. Takano took her in and loved her as if she was his own child. To show her love and respect, she decided to call him her grandfather. Now I know. That's the reason why she's devoted herself to researching Himisawa syndrome. I now understand how she must feel, knowing her research is soon to be terminated. Rika-chan had said that she was hurt. Although I didn't know anything about it, I may have said something to hurt her before. I only cared about treatment and extermination, didn't care about anything else until today. She must have considered that blasphemous towards her grandfather. Now I know why she became aggressive every time I expressed how I felt. After she was told that her research would be terminated, she stayed up all night and gathered up lots of documents. She went to Tokyo and requested an extension without depending on anyone else, and that request was rejected. The documents she used are now in a box in the underground storage. She must have exerted a lot of effort to put them together. Even someone without any knowledge of our research could easily understand what she was trying to say. However, it looked like some of those documents weren't even opened, and some had marks that told me they weren't treated the way documents are supposed to be. I'm sure some pages had absorbed her tears without me ever knowing. I heard from Tokyo that Takano-san had left a terrible impression with the board of directors. It's not easy to overturn a bad impression. In other words, she can never request an extension on her research ever again. I was there when she found out about it. I was there when she found out she could no longer continue her grandfather's research, even though she must have promised him that she would complete it.
高野さんは入江機関閉鎖後にも個人研究を続けられますか？
入江機関が閉鎖するときには症候群は撲滅されていますわ。病原体をシャーレに残し、誰かをさらって感染者にして研究しろと。個人で機材も予算も施設もなく、誰にも顧みられなかった祖父のようにホルマリンの匂いのこもった書斎で誰にも評価されず、ざれ言だと笑われるためだけに研究を続けろと。もう若さもなく気力もなく、ただの負け犬に過ぎない私に何を続けろとおっしゃるんです。
Tomoki-san once told me that the Ira Institute was supposed to be the Takano Institute. But our clients didn't like the idea of a young woman heading the facility, and that's why I was invited. That explains why she's been unfriendly since the day we met. It must have been blasphemy to her to see me go on about Himizawa syndrome and decide on a research plan according to my values and morals. To Takano, the syndrome is her grandfather. She must feel his presence when she's researching it. That's the reason why she often stays at the Institute until late at night, though it makes the mound dogs annoyed as they serve as security here.
蕎麦湯お飲みになります。
あ、そうですね。いただきましょう。
Her shoulders look fragile to me for the first time. And now I'm sure of Rika-chan's story. Takano-san holds an indescribable sadness within her. And if someone approached her pretending to understand, she just might fall for it. Because of my position, anything I say to her will only hurt her more, probably. Sometimes words can harm people no matter how they're used. But the fact that I still spoke up showed how little experience I had in life.
せめて今後の予算配当を高野さんのやりたい研究に優遇しましょう。少なくとも3年の継続は勝ち取れたんです。その3年間で精一杯の。
It was all a slip. Even as I spoke, I started to regret trying to say anything.
お気持ちだけで結構ですわ。死の病にかかり、痩せ衰えていくのを3年も見守るのも辛いものですわよ。
If I remembered why Dr. Takano came down with acute dementia, and he chose to commit suicide while his mind was still functional out of despair at his inability to continue his research further. My verbal slip had made her remember a painful memory, and hurt her even more.
最後には眠ったままになり、 生命維持装置の電源を切ることをいつかは選ばされる。ねえ、入江所長。その電源を切るのを所長がその患者の担当医だったら誰にやらせますか？まさか所長がその電源を切ったりはしませんわよね。
Takano-san asked me that as if it was a normal question. She's only expecting to hear one answer.
もしそういう状況になるのなら、最後のスイッチは残されるご家族に委ねるでしょ
う。ですわよね。まさか今生の別れの日にその場に立ち会わないわけがない。私はひなみ沢症候群の最後に立ち会いますわよ。絶対にね。
Jeez. Someone knocked on the door and I heard the voice of one of the other staff members.
所長、午後の診療が始まります。準備をお願いいたします。
ああ、申し訳ありません。今参ります。
私が片付けておきますわ。所長は診療室へお急ぎくださいな。いつものお年寄りたちがよもやま話をしたくて大勢お待ちでしてよ。
Takano-san laughed, but I know that laugh was trying to conceal her anguish. I'm not close to her personally, but she is my partner here at the clinic. I have been trying to avoid getting close to her, but maybe that was a mistake. If I had listened to her more, maybe I could have eased her pain a little. But it's too late. Tomiki-san is conducting an investigation to prove her innocence. Is she guilty or not? Either way, her heartache remains. After Yuri left, Takano sat down on the sofa again and stared at nothing for a while. Then she got up and picked up the phone on the desk.
高野です。おこのぎはいる？私よ。20日からのつもりだったけど、今日から R の周辺監視を開始して。
Ooh.
え？別にいいでしょ？それとも今日は暑いから嫌だとでも言う気？ええ、お願い。決行日まであと5日。慎重に慎重を重ねても罰は当たらないわ。ええ、よろしく。
はい。失礼しますね。
Okonogi put down the phone and sighed. Although it's his job to do whatever Takano wants, he couldn't help but complain about getting such an order on such an extremely hot day. Of course, if he complained, Takano would spit back twice as much reproach. Okonogi was sitting in the office of Okonogi Gardeners, a dummy company. As it happened, they regularly did gardening in Himizawa, if only so that nobody would get suspicious to see their uniforms and van around.
やれ、参ったな。ウグイスとヒバリの休暇を取り消して呼び戻せ。R の監視を3日前倒しにしろと、我らのお姫様のご命令だ。監視体制をすべて3日前倒しにする。初日は白鷺だったな。4名体制、通話監視1、サポート1、R 宅監視1、サポート1。白鷺リーダーは直ちに指揮に入れ。あと電話設備工作も前倒しにするぞ。ウグイスの予定だったが招集には1日かかるだろう。大鳥でやる。大鳥7工作チームを編成して今夜中に完了させろ。可能か？
もちろん。電気工作要員の訓練は十分です。
The Mountain Dogs are different from a regular battle unit. They're a technical squad formed from specialists in different fields of espionage. They were covert operatives who were sabotaging telephone stations like Okonogi just ordered. Ones for wiretapping, intelligence gathering, information manipulation, establishing networks in public institutions, and many others in various specialized fields. They belong to the self-defense force. Some are from fire departments, some are from police departments, and some are civil engineers. Of course, they have some experts in combat as well. Okonogi is one of those combat experts, and he didn't expect too much from the engineers. While they had all gone through the same basic training, what they were capable of was child's play compared to what an expert can do. Okonogi is the leader of a unit made up of mostly members who can't even do 100 push-ups. Really, that was the only complaint he had. He'd rather have been put in charge of the Bloodhounds. Ooh. But somehow he became the leader of this strange unit, maybe because of his cautious yet courageous personality. Since combat was his expertise, Okonogi wished deeply for combat. During the kidnapping incident 5 years ago, the plan was for the resisting criminals to leave the hostage behind on the scene and run after the police stormed in. He recalled the extremely frustrating memory of his combat with that plainclothes officer. Oh shit, so Okonogi was one of the guys? Damn. That fat old man was acting so arrogantly, but he could have taken him within a matter of seconds. He could have just broken his neck. He could have turned him around and snap. It would have been so easy for him. He remembered a young policeman too. He shot him in his shoulder, but he could have shot at his ear. He was told to go easy on them, so that was the best he could do. He'd thought of firing a second shot, but there just wasn't time, so the last shot he fired wasn't that reluctant one. Okonogi couldn't believe that such a pathetic battle was his last combat job. Regardless, he had continued to train so that he was ready at any time. Now that the operation had begun, he was hoping there would be a battle for him to fight. He didn't even need to fire a shot. He didn't even need to punch anyone. All Okonogi wanted was a battle that satisfied his pride, nothing more. Interesting.
隊長、外線からお電話です。隊長宛てなのか、社長宛てなのかわかりません。
He's also the president of Okonogi Gardeners. Because of that, the members of the Mountain Dogs often called him that.
ちょっと待て、鉛なんです。つったらねえ、もしよくねえ、ほんま。こんなんでどうよ。で、どちら様んね。
女性です。野村と名乗ってます。
Ooh.
おこのぎ社長を指名してます。
Nomura.
隊長宛てだ。社長室で。向こうに回してくれ。
Okay. Rattle, rattle, crash! I heard a noise, which sounded like many buckets crashing down. It's probably a noise from one of Sadako-chan's traps. According to her trap map, that's a nice name, anyone going near the wire trap tapping shack will set off a trap that makes a loud noise. That must have been it just now. I scouted around the shack last night before the girls left, Akasaka. The shack is very secluded and is located in a blind spot where nobody's likely to go. So this noise means something important. It means they started their observation of Rika-chan. I can't let them notice the girls aren't home. They'll definitely call and come by to confirm they're here. So I have to make sure they think the girls are sick in bed and they don't hear the phone or the doorbell. The curtains are closed so they can't see what's inside of the house. But to be certain, their beds are stuffed to make it look like they're sleeping. However, I have to be even more careful from now on. I can't let them notice that I'm staying here. For that matter, I have to make sure I can act when something happens. The phone rang suddenly. Just as I expected. They're calling to see if anyone's home. They're already aware that they didn't go to school, so they're probably assuming that they're home, sick in bed. I'm sure they want proof of that. The phone rang for a long time, which convinced me that it was indeed a call from the Mountain Dogs. If there was no answer in the phone, then the next step would be to come by the house. They'll pretend to be a mailman or a neighbor and knock on the door. But I don't even need to answer it. If the girls are too sick to answer the phone, then they won't notice a knock on the door either. The increased hassle means a higher risk of discovery, but on the other hand, it also proves our enemy is closing in on us. It was actually better for me since I could measure the severity of the situation. Besides, Ire is our ally, and he already knows Rika-chan is somewhere else. He's supposed to tell them that he came by because he heard Rika-chan and Sadako miss school, and that the two of them were in bed and should be left alone for a while. He's supposed to say that. They won't doubt Ire. They will believe him. You could call this an advanced level of mutual deceit. They believe that they're deceiving Ire, but in reality, Ire is deceiving them. However, they're professionals and we're a bunch of amateurs. Well, not me at least. Actually, maybe I'm not an exception. I don't know what they've got until I come face to face with them. Our conditions aren't even. We're leading by a tiny bit because we made the first move. Once that's gone, we don't stand a chance. I promised Rika-chan that I trust her unconditionally. So even without proof, I'm ready to fight. But I can't beat this conspiracy by myself. And to gain help from the others, Tomiki has to find proof. Tomiki is in charge of our first attack. That means he's in the most danger too. It's understandable that Rika-chan had kept warning him to be very careful. He should have started his investigation as early as last night. If that's the reason why they've begun observing Rika-chan, I can only pray for his safety and the success of the investigation. I heard a voice. Ire had arrived.
Satoko-chan ni Rika-san! ご主人様が会心に来ましたよ!
I heard footsteps coming up the stairs and a quiet knock.
大丈夫。私一人です。
もう少しここへに。この家はすでに敵の監視下にあります。
I let Ire in and closed the door quickly.
お疲れ様です。窓も満足に開けられないとあっては、まるで蒸し風呂ですね。これは差し入れです。
He handed me a plastic bag. Contained ice cream, cans of juice, some snacks, and even beer. Well, this obviously isn't for Rika-chan. I feel he's being a little careless, but I am grateful.
いかがですか、こちらは。
さっきこの家の電話を盗聴する監視小屋に何者かが近づいた形跡がありました。それから呼び出しの長すぎる電話が1件。おそらく学校を欠席したことを知り、在宅確認のために電話してきたのでしょう。あなたもリカちゃんたちの様子を見てこいと誰かに言われたのではありませんか。
全くその通りです。
Bingo.
高野さんからリカさんたちが学校を欠席したのに病院に来ないから不安だと、様子を見てきてほしいと言われたんです。
やはり
リカさんとさとこちゃんの欠席を不審に思われたんでしょうか。
いえ、多分富武さんが内定を開始したことと関係があるんじゃないかと思います。もしいなかったとしても、今回の動きは彼にとって尻尾をつかむチャンスになるかもしれません。
どちらにせよ、もう何かが始まっているということなんですね。
そう見て間違いないでしょう。私たちの敵が高野と山犬なのか、そうではないのか。どちらにしてももう敵は動き出しているのは間違いありません。
ひなみ沢村連続開始事件、最初の2年は偶然が重なっただけでした。しかし3年目から高野さんはそれを面白がり、綿流しの夜に何かが起こり続けることを期待しだしたように思います。
綿流しのお祭りはあさって。
Oh shit.
敵が動き始めるタイミングとしては妥当かもしれませんね。そして5年目にリカちゃんを狙う高野か。恐ろしい女です。
リカさんがしていた高野さんの話、あれはどれも本当だと思います。今日初めて知ったんですが、彼女はひなみ沢症候群の第一発見者、高野先生の養女だったんです。
同じ高野ですね。うん、なるほど。
彼女にとってひなみ沢症候群の研究を受け継ぐことは尊敬する祖父との絆だったんです。その研究が打ち切られることが確定した。それは彼女にとって祖父を冒涜するものなんです。
すべてリカちゃんの言っていた通りということですね。
はい。それと高野さんがこんなことも言っていました。3年で打ち切られることが決まっている研究を寿命が幾ばくもない眠ったままの患者に例えるんです。そしてその生命維持装置のスイッチを切るならば、それは残された家族の権利だというようなことを。
どうせ打ち切られる研究ならば、それに幕を下ろすのは高野先生の遺族高野美代だけと。
Yeah, the mindset of the only person that's canceling this is me and nobody else.
はい、
Or ending it at least.
そういう意味で言ったものと思います。
We're gathering the circumstantial evidence we need. Takano is in fact our enemy. Yuri had been reluctant to accept it yesterday, but now he believes what Rika-chan said is true.
あとは富武さんに高野さんが企んでいる何らかの証拠を掴んでもらうだけです。そしたら関係者を一斉に拘束するための鎮圧部隊を呼び寄せるそうです。
高野は山犬なる特殊部隊を配下に持ちます。それを鎮圧できるような。
はい。私も名前しか知らないのですが、番犬という部隊がいるそうで、本当の非常事態が起こった時、武力で強襲する戦闘部隊だとか。山犬はどちらかというと機密保持などの情報部隊の性格が強いので、多分それよりはるかに強い部隊なんでしょ
う。表に出せぬ研究をする機関の万が一の造反に対応する鎮圧部隊となれば、多分つまりそのいわゆる番犬部隊とやらをひなみ沢に呼び寄せることが我々の勝利条件になる。
そういうことになるんでしょうか。ただ一つ不安なのは、緊急マニュアルには機密保持のために村を封殺することを認める記述があることです。番犬部隊が来てもやることは彼らと同じで、結局は村ごと証拠を隠滅するのではないかという不安も残ります。
Yeah, that's something to worry about.
いえ、それはないでしょう。敵の狙いが緊急マニュアルの執行にある以上、それでは何の意味もありません。この陰謀が派閥構想によるものならば、入江機関のクライアントたちの派閥は絶対に穏便に済まそうと思います。おそらく敵を吸収し、村人たちが何事かと目を白黒させているうちに決着させてしまうに違いありません。
I know this because I've done similar jobs myself. They'll pass through like a gale and complete their operation swiftly. And a unit capable of pulling that off against the mountain dogs must be very powerful.
とにかく富武さんからの連絡を待つしかありませんね。
ええ、これは持久戦です。ですが一度有事となれば、それは電撃戦に様変わりする。緩急の差の激しい辛い戦いになります。入江先生は敵の腹中にいる心強い存在ですが、同時に最も危険な場所にもいます。 常に油断せずにいてください。私たちはリカちゃんの味方になろうと決めた時点ですでに彼らの敵なのですから。
The phone of this house is, of course, being wiretapped, so Yuri has to come over to communicate with me. But that won't work in an emergency. The telephone is still better in that case. For those instances, I've put together a memo for Yuri. There's a method for communicating over phone that's been bugged. It's something I came up with out of necessity once.
これは
緊急時用の私への電話連絡方法です。
Gotta use code words.
絶対に敵に奪われないでください。危険な時には必ず飲み込んで処分するように。
盗聴されているのにどうやって電話で連絡を？あなたが受話器を取ればたとえ無言であっても疑われかねないのに。
受話器を取らなくても連絡することはできます。少々コツのいる不便なやり方ですが、一番確かな連絡方法です。そしてそれは敵の動きを最初に察知できるあなたにしか発することができない。
わかりました。それでやり方は？
メモに書いてあります。簡単に説明すると、電話の呼び出し音の長さで連絡するのです。
The ringtone, huh? As a sort of Morse code?
相手に電話をするとき、1分以上呼び鈴を鳴らし続けることはほぼありません。それを利用した呼び出し音による連絡方法です。1分鳴らし続けて切れば、そこは危険、脱出せよ。1分半なら緊急事態、直ちにその先邸へ急行せよ。こんな感じで30秒区切りで緊急性の高いメッセージが仕込んであります。
It's pretty clever.
他
Clever.
のメッセージはメモを見てください。でもこの1分と1分半の2つだけは絶対に暗記してください。私の命がかかっていますので。
The message that lets me know my wife is in danger is the shorter call. But if it's too short, I'll get confused with regular phone calls. That's why to signal me, you're supposed to hang up with the phone within 3 seconds first, then place the emergency call. The reason why I use such a large difference of time is to make sure there's no misunderstanding. The tones the caller hears and the rings the receiver sends out are a little different. I don't want that little difference to change the message, which is why they had to be 30 seconds apart.
まず短く1回鳴らし、1分なら逃げろ。1分半ならリカさんたちのところへ向かえ。はい、覚えました。
少々面倒と思いますが、あくまでも緊急事態用ですので、くれぐれもよろしくお願いいたします。
ええ、わかりました。危険な時の連絡は任せてください。
最後にもう一つだけ暗記してください。とても嫌な暗号ですが、これも忘れないでください。この連絡に限り短い1回は不要です。連絡方法は3分以上呼び出し音を鳴らし続けること。
Dang.
電話をかけたまま受話器を外し、そのまま放置するのがいいでしょう。
その暗号の意味は？
連絡員に緊急事態、以後連絡不能。
それは私の身に危険が及んだ時という意味もあるんですね。
はい。緊急時にはこの家へ電話し、そのまま受話器を外し、安全な場所に身を隠してください。ただ自らの危機を図るのはとても難しいことです。まだ大丈夫、多分大丈夫などと思っているうちに連絡の機会さえ逃してしまいかねません。少しでも嫌な予感がしたら緊急時と判断していいでしょう。陰謀の度合いから考えて敵は私たちを生かしはしません。 くれぐれもご用心を。
わかりました。その場合あなたはどうするんですか？
その際は状況によりますが、私もここを脱出します。あなたに危機が迫る以上、リカちゃんの身にも危険が迫っている可能性が高いですから、私はその崎邸を目指し、リカちゃんたちとの合流を目指します。あくまでもこれは最悪の事態です。このような事態に陥ると決まったわけではありませんので、緊張することはありません。どうか気を楽に持たれてください。
ですが油断せずにですね。
そうです。
Yuri nodded deeply. It's almost time. Something is about to happen. Ooh. Something's about to happen, folks. Okay, setting up the plan. All the pieces of the plan coming together.
というわけよ。質問のある人いる？
I have plenty of questions. Yeah, me too, Ketchy. Me too. Oh, that's such a funny line. This could easily be one of those well-planned pranks. What I heard is just that extraordinary. But right now, it's a bad idea to ask questions just out of curiosity. That would be a waste of time. Miana's already explained everything about the events surrounding Rika-chan.
まあ、私も園崎家当主代行としていろいろと聞きたいことはあるよ。連続開始事件についてどうやら少なからぬ関係があるようだからね。でも今はそれはなしにする。しかし、うちに避難してきたのはいい判断だね。うちの地下なら核戦争だってしのげるよ。電気もある、電話もある。もちろん食料だってあるしね。
And a couple of torture devices, but you can just ignore those.
山犬って連中がそんなにも厄介な相手なら、ますますこの村の中でリカちゃんたちをかくまえるのはうちしかありえないよ。
みんなを巻き込んでしまって申し訳ないと思いますです。
Rika-chan apologized from the bottom of her heart. Rika-chan has been dealing with a strange disease, this Himizawa syndrome, as well as all these suspicious Tokyo people all by herself until today. She's been trying not to get us involved, and that's why she dealt with them all by herself. We can all imagine what she must have been feeling, so none of us can even think of anything to say. The silence went on for a while, but then Hanyu clapped Rika-chan on the back.
リカは昨日から申し訳ないばっかり言い過ぎなのです。
That's a nice dress.
もう一回言ったら、リカは毎日僕にシュークリームをおごる罰ゲームなのですよ。それに、みんなだって申し訳ないなんて思ってないですよ。ね、ケイチ。
Hanyu suddenly addressed me. Could tell from her eyes that she was expecting something from me. Right, my role is to act as a flint for the other club members. It's my job to burn strong and bright wood to get everyone excited. What have I been doing just sitting around?
そうだぜリカちゃん。ちょいとことがでかかったんで面食らっちまったが。なあみんな。どいつもこいつも内心は面白くなってきやがったとか思ってんだろ。さとこ、どうもこいつは俺たちに本気でやってもいいってことみたいだぞ。お前だいぶ温存してるんだろ。シャレじゃ済まない秘蔵のトラップをだいぶ隠し持ってるんだろ。そいつを食らわせてやるまたとないチャンスじゃねえか。
部活メンバーに私がいたことに感謝なさいませですわね。相手が何様だか存じませんけど、本気でやっていいとなれば、たとえ部活メンバーが相手でも塩をためらってきた奇跡の大トラップの数々が惜しげもなく飛び出しますのよ。そうだね。さとこちゃんのトラップはみーちゃんのお墨付きだもんね。た とえ相手が本物の軍隊でもさとこちゃんのトラップはみんな蹴散らしちゃう。
とさとこをよいしょしてるが、もちろんレナだって容赦ねえからな。レナは普段はおっとりしてるが、俺はこいつの本気の時を知ってるぜ。レナは本当に戦うべきここ一番では誰にも屈しない強さを持ってる。そいつはかなり半端ない。多分俺でも勝てないと思うぜ。
そんなことないよ。
Oh, the power of being the poster girl.
ケイチ君だってここ一番の時の爆発力と瞬発力はすごいよ。レナじゃ打ち破れない運命でも打ち破れる気がするもの。ケイチが赤く燃え上がる炎なら、レナは青く静かに燃え上がる炎という感じなのです。
お、それいい例えだな。真っ赤に燃える男、前原圭一。青く燃える女、竜宮レナ。我が部にその人ありと天下に知らしめる絶好のチャンスだぜ。そしてその最強のメンバーを最強のリーダーが従える。だよな、ミオ。小西で最強、揃えば無敵。それが俺たちの部なんだよな。
いやはや不謹慎だと思って黙ってたけど、おじさんさ、本当はこう思ってたのさ。こいつは最高に面白くなってきたってね。今は感謝してるよ、リカちゃん。これだけの獲物をよくぞ知らせてくれた。このひなみ沢で我が部に挨拶なしで上等を決めてくれようとはね。きっちりけじめを取らせてもらうよ。
It had only been 5 minutes since Rika-chan apologized to everyone and brought the mood down, yet our morale was already at its peak again. We're up against such an absurd conspiracy, but if we're together, I think we can defeat it. This is the best feeling ever! Fuck yeah! Hanyu's the one who started all of this. She's quite the promising newcomer. She knew exactly whom among us to get motivated first. Now, moreover, while even our senior members were hesitant about taking on such a huge opponent somewhere in their hearts, she alone remained unflinching and raised our spirits. She's likely to grow even more formidable in the future.
ありがとう、みんな。信じてくれてありがとう。信じてくれるとずっと言ってますし、信じて当然。信じないやつなら仲間じゃないのです。だからお礼なんていらないのですよ、リカ。
It's like the personality flipped with Hanyu and Rika.
ああ、そうだな。羽生の言う通りだ。お前、いい根性してるぞ。気に入った。
I loved Hanyu's head. She laughed as if I was tickling her.
さて、そうとなりゃ作戦会議だ。状況をもう一度整理しよう。まず、リカちゃんとサトコは病気結石のふりをしてしばらくここに身を隠す。これは万が一に備えてだね。
I'm just go ahead and save real quick. Because this chapter has been crashing a lot for some reason. I don't know why.
まさかここに2人が隠れてるなんて誰も知らないよ。留守番をしてくれてる赤坂って人に感謝だね。
でもよかったね。5年も昔にした約束を覚えてて助けに来てくれるなんて本当に素敵な人だね。ちょっと羨ましいかも。私の好みじゃありませんけど、リカにはちょっと嫉妬しましたよ。赤坂は別にそういうわけではないのです。
しかも東京の警視庁の公安部の人で、それも秘密部門所属なんだろ。すげえ頼もしい人だよな。秘密部門ってのがしびれるぜ。
赤坂はきっととても強いと思いますです。とても頼もしいのですよ。
ただ赤坂さんの役割はどちらかというと緊急時の防御役。むしろ重要なのは相手の尻尾をつかむ大任を帯びてる富武さんだよ。彼こそが真の攻撃役。しかも敵を鎮圧できる番犬部隊を呼ぶことができるのは富武さんだけ。つまり富武さんこそがこの戦いに勝利できるキーマンってことなんだよ。下手くそカメラマンの富武のおじさまが私たちの命運を握っている超重要人物とは不思議な感じ。
Everyone teased her. By saying they're going to tell Tomoki she called him that.
富武の頑張りを期待しないわけではありませんが、万が一に備え他の手も考えておいた方がいいと思いますです。
でも羽生、富武に頼る以外に何か打てる手などあるの？
いや、羽生の言うのも一理あるよ。何しろ敵から見ても富武さんはキーマン。自分たちを内定していると気づいたら暗殺することだってあるかもしれない。何しろここは彼にとって敵地も同然なんだからね。富武さんだけに頼りきらず私たちに打てる手を探すのも大切だと思うよ。
そうですわよ。トラップだってたった一つで綺麗に決めるのは難しいですもの。いくつも仕掛けてあらゆる可能性に対処して初めて完璧になるんですのよ。
Got multiple plans, A through Z, baby.
そうだね。攻撃の手を一つに限る必要なんてない。富武さんとは違う形で他の攻撃ができないか探してみるといいんじゃないかな。
でも東京についてわからない私たちがどんな手を？
富武さんの重要性の一つが番犬部隊を呼び寄せることだってんなら、俺たちにも彼らに連絡する方法を教えてもらいたいよな。そうすれば万が一富武さんが敵にやられても俺たちは勝利条件を失わずに済む。
そうだね。富武さんの最大の価値はそこにあるからね。同時にそこがこちらのアキレス腱でもある。事情を話して富武さんに彼らとの連絡の取り方を教えてもらおう。ただ問題なのは富武さん自身が市内に身を隠しちゃっててこっちから連絡を取る方法がないって点なんだよね。
でもいい手だと思いますです。富武と次に連絡を取ることができたら番犬への連絡の仕方を聞きましょうです。まずこれが一案。他にはないでしょうか。
Before we knew it, Hanya was making sure we moved along with our proceedings. Wenna knows that too, giving a pleasant smile to the girl trying to be a part of our group.
今の手は富武さんに万一があった時のための保険だよな。また別の角度の攻撃を考えたいな。富武さんの調査に貢献できるような攻撃ってねえか？
面白いですわね。何かのトラップを仕掛けて尻尾をつかみ黒幕に言い逃れできない証拠を突きつける。最高のトラップシチュエーションでしたよ。
奴らの狙いが僕なら僕を何かのおとりにするのはどうですか？危険だけど高野たちは僕が目的なんだから食いつかざるを得ないのです。
かなり危険な一手だね。でも確かに高野さんがリカちゃんを追っているという大きな証拠をつかめる手だよ。
わざと姿を見せて騒ぎを大きくして逃走戦にすれば少しは面白い効果が期待できそうだね。そこで聡子の裏山が役に立つ。
あそこに逃げ込めば追っ手は大変なことになりますですよ。
だよな。へへ、こいつは最高の見物だぜ。面白くなってきやがった。
でもやっぱりそれは最後の一手だと思うかな。
裏山にこもれば籠城戦になって状況はだいぶ変わる。この手に訴えるのは本当に最後の最後だと思う。
そうですわね。裏山のトラップは防御効果が非常に高いでしょうけども、あくまで防御ですわ。敵に対し攻撃するものとは違いますもの。
うん。裏山籠城は追い詰められた最後の切り札になるだろうね。これは本当に最後の手段。ここが敵に襲われ、ここを捨てざるを得ない時だけのね。ちなみにうちの地下には隠しトンネルがあって、山中の井戸に抜けられるようになってるんだよ。
へえ、すっげえなミオンの家。やっべえ、ますます面白くなってきたぜ。敵は謎の組織で、秘密作戦に秘密基地、秘密の地下道。
You could call this a secret war.
これで燃えなきゃ男じゃねえぜ。
Fuck yeah.
男でなくても燃えまくりなのですよ。さあ、これで2案出ましたです。僕たちはまだまだ思いつきますですよ。もう1案くらい出ないですか？
そうだな、もう一案欲しいぜ。今の案もどっちかというと防御的な案だからな。もっともっと攻撃性の高い我が部にぴったりの案は出ないのかよ。なんていうのかな、相手にガツンと一撃が入って連中の陰謀が頓挫しちまうくらいのすげえやつだよ。
僕たちにそんな方法があるのでしょうか？うん、きっとあるよ。レナたちはリカちゃんが思ってるほど無力じゃないし、切り札だってないわけじゃない。彼らにとって重要なリカちゃんというキーマンが一緒にいる。これが重要な切り札になるんだから。リカちゃんをおとりにするっていう意味じゃなくてね。
確かに女王感染者が私たちのところにいるのは彼らに対して大きなアドバンテージになるね。連中の目的は何？リカちゃんを殺して緊急マニュアルとやらに従って緊急措置の行使を余儀なくさせ、それを組織内の派閥争いに利用すること。そうだね。
そうなのです。リカは奴らにとって全てを吹き飛ばす爆弾みたいなものなのです。
それを爆発させて大騒ぎを起こし、それに乗じて何かを得するのが奴らの狙い。
それを爆発させないのが私たちの勝ちということになると、それはあまりいい状況ではありませんわね。
確かにこちらはいつまでもずっと守り続けなくちゃならないけど、向こうはなりふり構わずリカちゃんを殺せば勝ちになる。まるで片方にしかゴールがないサッカーだよ。その片方にしかゴールがない異常なサッカーを告発して番犬部隊を呼び寄せるのがいわゆる富武作戦の要だね。奴らの陰謀を砕く私たちのゴールは何かない？あるはずだよ。こういう時は立場を逆にして考えると見えてくる。あれあれその手があったか。
Mion started to grin in a weird way. Mischievous. Here she goes. The winds are blowing stronger on her side, and she's getting into better than top form. Mion is pretty smart. She is great at analyzing situations. That's why, when Wika-chan first told her everything, she immediately decided that there was no way for us to win, became depressed. However, while Mion's easily crushed, she's also able to exhibit incredible power when the wind's on her side. We created that tailwind, and now her sail is receiving the push it needed.
リカちゃん、もう一度確認するね。その緊急マニュアルってのはリ リカちゃんが死ぬと村人が48時間以内に全員異常行動を起こすって言うから、そうなる前に村を鎮圧するために発動されるんだよね。
はい、そうなのです。はお、どうしてリカが死んだこともないのに48時間でそんなことになるとわかるのでしょうか。確かにそうだね。うん、おかしいよそれ。
It's merely just a hypothesis.
なんで48時間で村人みんながおかしくなるなんて決めつけられるんだろう。僕にはよくわからないのですが、高野が言うには他の国の例でよく似たケースがあり、それが48時間だかなんだかの根拠らしいのですが、僕にはちんぷんかんぷんなのです。入江も実はちんぷんかんぷんだと言ってましたです。あ、まさか。なるほど。私わかりましたわよ。敵の弱点が。
ああ、俺も分かったぜ。そうかそうか、そうだよな。これは確かに盲点だったぜ。
二人とも何が分かったのですか？僕には分からないのです。分かんない分かんない。レナにも分かんないよ。
あれあれ、レナとリカちゃんがわかんないの？最後までわかんない方は恥ずかしい罰ゲームってことにしようかね。羽生はどう？あんたならとっくにピンときてそうだね。
はい、分かってますですよ。だからこそリカは高野にとっても重要人物だったのです。はあ、これはリカとレナへのヒントなのですよ。私からもヒントですわよ。敵の狙いは派閥争いのためにひなみ沢で大騒ぎを起こすこと。そしてそのための手段として緊急マニュアルを使おうとしているわけですわ。ということはこの緊急マニュアルこそ敵の陰謀のアキレス腱になるということですわ。わかんないのです。リカ、僕に今まで意地悪してごめんなさいと謝ったら答えを教えてあげますですよ。まっぴらごめんよ。そのあうあう気が散るから黙らせて。
なんだなんだ、鋭いレナまで気づかないのかよ。いいか、俺たちの攻撃が富武さん一人に委ねられていて、それがアキレス腱であるように敵の攻撃も緊急マニュアル一つに委ねられているんだよ。ってことは緊急マニュアルの根底を打ち砕いてやればいい。わかるか？緊急マニュアルの意味を失わせてやればいいんだよ。
緊急マニュアルの意味は何ですか？それはひなみ沢症候群の大騒ぎを災害のふりをして隠すためなのです。だから村人たちがおかしくなる48時間以内に村に緊急措置を行使してしまおうとする。そしてそれが敵の狙いなのです。ということは、つまり48時間以内に緊急マニュアルを使わせなければいい？僕を殺さなければその48時間は始まらないんだから、その48時間を握 逃げ切ればいい？
Fake your death?
何よ、二人とももう答えを口にしてるじゃない。いい？じゃあ答えを教えてあげよう。みんないい？せーの。リカちゃんが48時間前に
Fucking knew it.
死んでればいい。
God damn it! I fucking thought of the. God damn it! I thought of like what are they talking about? Like just faking Rika's death, but I didn't say anything. God damn it! We all said it in unison. Boy, we're good at this. Never mess it up.
わかったよ、わかった。僕もわかりましたです。
Luna and Rika-chan clapped their hands together. They finally figured it out. Why did it take so long for us to come up with this?
やっとみんな思いつきましたです。こんな案、一案目でさっくり出してほしいものなのですよ。さっきから後ろ向きな案ばっかりだったので、ひょっとして思いつかないのかと焦ってましたのです。
言ってくれるじゃない。羽生、あんたますます気に入ったよ。この功績を認め、あんたには後で我が部金星特別十字章を授与しよう。まあそれは後に置いといて、今作戦の説明に入ろう。奴らのゴールの最大の拠り所である緊急マニュアル、これにはでっかいウィークポイントが隠されてる。それはひなみ沢症候群は女王感染者の死後48時間で村人が全員異常行動を起こすから、そうなる前に初段を下せというそもそもの根拠の部分。つまりリカちゃんが48時間前にすでに死んでいるのに、村に何も起こらず平和だったら、このマニュアルの根本が崩れるってことなんだよ。
That's it, to say the least. Nobody really wants to do such a terrifying thing. But if they don't execute the manual, the villagers might go mad and spread to the surrounding communities. They are hesitant to execute it, but they want to keep the damage to a minimum. But what if they find Rika-chan's body 48 hours after her death? The major premise that the villagers will lose their minds within 48 hours of the Queen Killer's death will collapse.
幸いリカはここに隠れているのですから、リカが死んでしまったという嘘をつくのは可能なのです。
リカちゃんが世間に目撃されたのは昨日の学校が最後だから、それから48時間だから、あさっての早朝くらいに死体が見つかったということになるととても好都合だね。
そうか、警察の大石さんの助けがあればリカちゃん死亡の偽装は可能なんだね。
Oh.
その通りですわ。大石さんにうまくやってもらってリカの死体が見つかり、それが死後48時間経過してるって嘘を発表してもらうんですの。
まあ公式発表にするといろいろ余波がありそうだから、入江機関にだけ嘘を流せば十分だろう。しかも監督がこっちの味方なんだから、連中をコロッと騙すのは可能なはずだ。
これは考えたわね。
緊急マニュアルの信憑性が失われれば、こんなひどい作戦が承認されることなんてありえない。つまり連中にとって最大の弱点は緊急マニュアルであり、そしてリカちゃん自身だったというわけなんだよ。
大石は協力するとまだ言ってくれたわけではありませんが、僕はきっと力を貸してくれると信じていますです。これは愉快なトラップになりましてよ。高野さんが慌てふためく姿が目に浮かぶようですわ。
高野は私と聡子が風邪で寝込んで家にいると信じ込んでる。でも 姿を見たわけじゃなく、きっとそこにいるだろうという想像でしかない。それが実は他にいて、そしてあさってに突然私の死体が見つかり、しかも48時間前には死んでいたなんてことになったら。
なんだかすっごい痛快なことになりそうだね。
となれば黒幕たちはこの緊急マニュアル作戦が失敗したと判断して撤退するだろうね。ここで私たちの攻守が逆転する。そこまで至ればきっと敵の動揺の隙をついて富武さんが何かをつかむ。
そして陰謀を鎮圧するために富武が番犬のワンワンを呼び寄せて敵をやっつけてくれるのです。これが僕たちのゴールなのです。
よっしゃー、見えてきたじゃねえか、俺たちの勝ち方が。しかも最高に俺たちにぴったりの騙し方だぜ。気に入った気に入った、最高に気に入った。
We all encourage each other with a hip hip hooray. It's definitely getting really, really interesting. Still, what's key is that the claim of Wika-chan being dead for 48 hours is believable. For that, we'll need Oshi-san's help. To convince the world that Wika's dead. And right as we thought about asking him, he arrived at the Sonozaki residence. Oshi-san knows that Wika-chan is hiding here. He also knows that some members of the Mound Dogs have infiltrated the police station. They've even wiretapped Wika-chan's phone. So the safest way to contact her, he figured, is in person.
先ほど入江先生にお会いしましてね。赤坂さんはうまいことやってて無事ですと伝えてほしいと言われました。あの人は5年前とは比べ物にならないくらい成長してます。あの砦は彼なら守りを務められるでしょう。
By this point, he's become John Wick. Oshi-san loosened his tie while drinking his borrowed tea. I bet he never thought he ended up drinking a glass of borrowed tea at the home of his old enemy, the Sonozaki family.
それで大石、この48時間作戦なのですが、どう思いますですか？
ねえ、なかなか面白い作戦だと思います。敵に対する強力な揺さぶりになるでしょう。おそらく敵は動揺し、焦ってミスを犯すはずです。それは富武さんにとって掴むべき尻尾となるに違いありません。いやー、実にうまい作戦ですよ。3人集まればなんとかって言いますが、若い皆さんがこれだけ集まるといいアイディアも出てくるもんです。
Oshi-san laughed in admiration and assured us that the operation would definitely make an impact. However, he hesitated a little too.
こいつは大勝負になります。勝っても負けても私はこの作戦の責任を取らされるでしょう。うまくごまかすつもりですが、下手をすりゃちょいと痛い目にも合うでしょう。ちょいと覚悟が必要です。
In our 48-hour operation, Oshi-san ends up bearing most of the responsibility. And the police are a strict organization. There's no guarantee they won't investigate. Oshi-san is planning to retire this year. He needs his pension in order to pay off his mortgage. He's at a very delicate point in his life. Well, this is a big deal for Wika-chan. It's a lot to ask of Oshi too. He has to risk throwing away everything for our sakes.
私もこの48時間作戦かなりいい手だと分かってるんです。しかし私ってやつは
大石、難しければ無理にうなずかなくてもいいのですよ。僕たちは大石の犠牲を踏み台にして勝利を勝ち取りたいなんて思ってないのです。
Nobody knew what to say to him, but Hanyu broke the silence. She's full of energy, owling during her club, but at times like this, she also has the power to heal the hearts of those who are hesitating and growing weak. It's like being enveloped in a mysterious embrace. If her appearance matched her level of maturity, Hani would probably look like a mother.
それに僕たちは最強の部活メンバーなのです。48時間作戦がダメならもっともっと効果的で面白い作戦をすぐに考えちゃいますのです。ね、ミオン。
ああ、そうだよ。おいさん、無理なら断ってくれて全然 OK。むしろ私たちも大石さんの迷惑も考えず勝手に盛り上がっちゃって悪かったと思ってるもん。
そうですわね。困らせてごめんなさいですわ、大石さん。
Lena whispered to me while watching them talk.
羽生ちゃんって結構うまいね。年下の子にこんなこと言われちゃったら一肌脱がずにはいられなくなっちゃうもん。
え？って羽生が慰めてるのってそういう意味があるのかよ。
みー、だって羽生は本当は僕よりずっとタヌキなのですよ。
As Oshi-san moaned and groaned, Hani looked over and grinned wickedly at us. I take it back. This girl, she really is sly. Hani was more dangerous than I thought. Next time we do a club activity, I'll really have to watch out.
ちょっと一晩だけ時間をください。署内で信頼できる人間に打ち明けて協力を求めてみます。大丈夫、絶対に信頼できる人間です。私も引き受けたなら失敗しましたじゃ済みません。なのでやる前に賞賛を図らせてください。
Oshi-san never makes promises unless he's sure he can keep them. That's why he speaks cautiously, but considering his position, it was certainly a decision that required courage.
大丈夫ですよ、大石。もし退職金がなくなっちゃってもきっとミオンが何とかしてくれるのです。ね。はんはんはん。みー、部活メンバーに協力する以上、そうじゃないと大石がかわいそうなのです。みー。
Pulling all the stops with that one, huh?
まあね。
It's like puppy dog eyes.
おじさんの家はこう見えてもお金持ちだからね。
We've got two sly foxes. Their club's going to be the epitome of a free-for-all in the future. The meeting ends with that. Fucking owls and meeps. Oh, God. We'll find out if we can go ahead with a 48-hour operation or not by tomorrow, depending on Oshi-san's answer. We haven't heard from Tomoki-san yet, but I'm sure he started his investigation on Takano-san. The coach and Akasaka-san have to wait patiently, each surrounded by the enemy. They're both in very dangerous positions, so I'll just have to pray for their safety. And then there's Takano-san. I'm still having a hard time believing she's involved in such a vast conspiracy. If someone told me the whole thing was right, I might even believe them. That's why I want Tomoki-san to investigate. She's mysterious and a bit cold, but she can be fun to be around too. Also, I've always thought of her as one of the villagers. It hurts more than a little to suspect one of your own. I can understand what Tomoki-san is going through. This doesn't have to be an investigation to confirm her guilt. Instead, I want him to prove that she is not guilty. It's too painful for people to doubt one another. Ain't that the truth?
もしもし。ああ、何度もお電話をさせてしまいすみませんでした、富武に。
いえ、それより何か分かりましたか?
A background investigation usually takes a few months. It can't be washed within a day or two. But Tomiki sensed that something huge had started to make its move after what Rika and the others told him. And it was definitely getting closer. But once it was close enough to see, it would be too late. That was why he was checking on their progress so frequently.
高野3佐については現在調査を続けています。アルファベットの客員に迎えられるときに別の部署ですでに身辺調査を行っていたらしく、その資料の引き渡しを要求しています。アルファベット後については今総員体制で当たらせているところです。もうしばらくお時間をください。
分かってます。ですが事態は切迫しつつあるように感じていますので、くれぐれも緊急にお願いいたします。
はい、もちろんです。それから富武任意の依頼とは別に本日付で入江機関への緊急内定が命じられました。優先度最大。命令書は幕僚長命です。
幕僚長？
は。
私の調査依頼とは別に？
はい。あくまでも別件となっていますが、私の見たところ、これは富武任意の調査に対するトップからの強力な後押しではないかと。
Chief of Staff.
幕僚長が協力?
What does this mean? The only thing I can assume is that the top members of the acronym JGSDF have realized the danger of the conspiracy surrounding the Era Institute. Like Rika-chan said, if this conspiracy's intent is to execute the emergency manual, then the opposing camp will try to stop that from happening. My request for investigation is the first step in putting a stop to their plans. So if the masterminds were influencing the chief of staff, he probably tried to shut my investigation down. But he's supporting it instead, which probably means that the chief of staff isn't my enemy. In fact, he might belong to the opposing camp. No, it's hard to say if he belongs to them or not. He might just be under order from the ones pulling the strings for the opposing camp. If that's true, then the enemy has already noticed something, and it's possible that they'll start exerting pressure soon enough. So how much can I find out before that happens? I don't know much about the top brass. Still, for the chief of staff to get involved, putting aside if Takano-san is guilty or not, I'm certain that something extremely big is starting to happen around the Area Institute.
入江機関についての調査も急ピッチに進めています。まだ分析は終わっていませんが、入江機関内の予算の動きに不審があるようです。単なる書類のミスなのか、何かの工作なのかは現在腕利きに表せています。
口座に不審とは何です？
はい。入江機関の運営資金用に分配口座があるのはご存知かと思います。そこの数字が微妙に合いません。
Really?
プール金への流出、もしくは不明金の流入の可能性があるとのことです。また、領収書の日付にも不審な点があり、捏造の疑いが持たれています。
Funds are usually supplied annually. For example, if a budget of 1 million yen is approved, 1 million is supplied in April, and the facility manages those funds so they can keep things running for 1 year. So depending on how they use the money, it's possible to have some left over at the end of the year. If they only use 900,000 yen, they will have 10,000 left. Then for the following year, they'll be told that as they only needed 900,000 yen, 900,000 yen should be enough. Furthermore, there should be 100,000 yen left over, so they should only need 800,000 yen the following year. Therefore, then they only get 800,000 yen when April comes round, which is 200,000 yen less than the previous year. As some of you have already noticed, the more leftover money you have, the fewer funds you receive the next year. Therefore, it's smart to use up your entire budget. But some people try to get by until the end of the year. And if there is 100,000 yen left, they try to make it look like as though they've used up the money, even when it's in fact in a safe somewhere. They report they've used exactly 1 million yen, and they get another 1 million for the following year. Yet there is still 100,000 yen sitting in a safe. This 100,000 yen is called a pooled fund, or such Shush fund. Ugh. If they keep running with only 900,000 yen per year, then 100,000 will be added to the sush fund in the safe annually. I cannot say that word. And only a handful of people will know about that money. This is how public funds get embezzled or turned into private money. As we've previously mentioned, the Alphabet Project is using this exact trick, and certain masterminds are pouring in huge amounts of public funding. To avoid this kind of situation, there is an audit of accounts performed every year and oversight to ensure no one's fattening their pockets or creating such funds. Yeah. By the way, it's been said that the reason why civil engineering projects tend to start up at the end of the year is so they won't have that 100,000 yen left, but that's not relevant right now. The point is that they have to work hard to get the funds they want. Well, that's an example of having some money left over, which is certainly not bad. However, it can also be possible that there isn't enough money. After all, they're only granted 1 year's worth of funds, so they can't delve into a savings account like we do in our lives. That excess money just doesn't exist. Therefore, an estimate report should never show more of an expenditure than revenue. If that happens, that means there is some extra money other than what was supplied. That's how shush funds are discovered. Such. Yeah. Tomoki was told that it was still under investigation, but the Era Institute's suspicious financial records could be either case. The former would be fine. It's quite common after all. But if it was the latter, there could be something quite nasty lying beneath the surface. In other words, it was quite possible that funding was coming into the Era Institute from someone other than the formal sponsors. To be more exact, there was a chance someone was interfering with the Era Institute by supplying funds. Tomoki was having his men look into the possibility of Takano and the Mound Dogs rebelling against Tokyo. While it was certainly possible for Takano to do so because of her personal investment in their research project, it was hard to believe that the Mound Dogs could betray their employers out of sympathy. For the dogs to take part in Takano's conspiracy, a huge amount of money would have to be involved. And the discrepancy that Tomoki's men had identified could be a sign of such.
もしもし。失礼。今一件報告が来ました。富武には小泉先生をご存知ですね。旧小泉派のトップです。近年お亡くなりになって派閥は瓦解したそうですが、そのトップと高野三佐の個人的信仰についてはご存知でしたか？
ええ、一応は。
では、小泉先生と小高野先生に個人的な信仰があったことはご存知でしたか？
え？いや、なるほど。小泉先生が高野三佐を可愛がっていた理由がようやくわかりました。
これは興味深い内容です。実は小泉先生の死後、彼の隠し口座の清算が行われたらしいのですが、その際、金庫番の弁護士を通さず、小泉先生がご自身で下ろされた額があることが判明したんだそうです。時期は入江機関の設立がアルファベットで承認される半年前です。
それは入江機関設立の根回しに小泉先生が使ったのでは？
いえ、その根回しの金は弁護士が管理を任されていました。ですから、その支出ではないと思われます。腹心の金庫番を素通しして支払うというのは、よほどの個人的支出です。
So could that involve the relationship between Kazumi-sensei and Takano-san?
では、高野三佐に対し小泉先生が個人的に資金を提供したということでしょうか？
はい。こちらでもそう分析しており、現在裏付けを進めています。小泉先生による機関設立の根回しとは別に、高野三佐に対し個人的に設立工作のための現金を提供したのではないかと考えています。
ということはつまり高野三佐は
造反工作を行いうる現金を多額に持っている可能性があるということですか。
高野三佐は機関設立にあたり各方面への調整にあたりましたが、それは全て表ルートの接触で裏ルートからの接触ではありませんでした。ですので設立工作にあたりその提供を受けた資金を使用していないなら、それは丸々残っている可能性があります。
話が前後しますが、その提供を受けたと思われる額はいくらですか。
10億。
Huh?
そんなに。
Damn. Damn. I'm very close to Takano-san, but I had no idea she was so rich. Actually, she's rather tight with her money. She never acted as if she had 1 billion yen just sitting around. But then, that money isn't just money to her. It's a form of support from her dear grandfather's friend. So she had to save it for when she needed the most. If the new board of directors had even a little interest in her research, she would have used the money on them, but they simply laughed at her. So Takano-san gave up on bribing them. Instead, she decided to use it now, because her research project was going to be terminated anyway. With 1 billion yen, it might be possible to bribe the Mountain Dogs. If she has sponsors, it'll be even easier. Her grandfather couldn't complete his wife's work, but she's planning a magnificent conclusion for it. Shit. Those can't be her true intentions. Someone has to be deceiving her. Takano-san, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't notice your sorrow, even though I've been right beside you. Damn, 1 billion. Yeah, that's, I think that's enough to convince, a group of people to massacre an entire village. It's quite a bit. 48-hour operation. Even more proportions. Is there any new tips? Nope. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end things here. I don't want to drag this on for too long, but that was a, more preparations are being made. This, I really like this. I really do, and it's, I really like how, kind of like Oshi's being, like, getting a spotlight in these, like, last 2 chapters, I feel like. Because, well, in the other chapters he was, there. He was more of a force than a... Well, he was still a character, but he was more of a force than anything else. We didn't really know too much about Oshi until, like, I think the fragments, when we truly understood what he's about, who he truly is, which is very surprising. And I kind of like how we're just jumping from perspective to perspective, seeing all these people and what's going on, what's going down, and all that. So, yeah, all the preparations, we're still preparing for that final fight, and it's getting me excited, baby. Like, this is, the build up to the finale, But, yeah, if you guys enjoy this type of content, hit that subscribe button. If you liked it, hit the like button. Want to tell me something, put it down in the comments below. Want to check out the Discord server I hang out in, or my Twitter, check the description below. And yeah, this has been Voidlego. I'll see you guys next time. See ya!